Hey everyone, DeepSeek just dropped a new AI model that's causing a serious stir. And it's not hard to see why. It's called DeepSeek V3 and it's quickly becoming one of the most talked about models of the year. This release is powerful enough to rival top Western models like GPT-4 and Claude, yet efficient enough to run on a high-end Mac studio. What's more, it's completely open source under the MIT license, making it not just powerful, but radically accessible. With China doubling down on AI advancements and global tensions rising around tech supremacy, this release is making waves far beyond the tech world. One of the biggest reasons the AI community is freaking out about DeepSeek V3 is the licensing change. Previously, DeepSeek used a more restrictive open-source license, limiting how developers could use or repurpose their models. But now, by adopting the MIT license, DeepSeek has essentially thrown the doors wide open. This change makes it incredibly easy for startups, solo developers, researchers, and even large companies to pick up the model, tweak it, embed it in their own commercial products, or develop new solutions from scratch, all without needing legal gymnastics or special permissions. This open approach isn't just a win for developers. It marks a turning point for China's AI industry. It signals a more collaborative and innovation-friendly stance, making cutting-edge tools available to a broader range of players across the globe. With such flexibility, it invites rapid experimentation, new business models, and an explosion of AI-powered solutions built on top of DeepSeek's foundation. But it's not just about openness. People are also seriously impressed with the model's efficiency and performance. One standout feature? Speed. DeepSeek V3 can generate text at around 20 tokens per second. And here's the kicker. That's on a Mac studio, not a massive GPU cluster or a cloud-based supercomputer. Let's check out what one reviewer had to say about DeepSeek's latest model.
Reasoning AI. Is that a good thing? Well, allow me to demonstrate it. Let's ask the earlier Reasoning AI DeepSeek R1 what is the capital of France. And it is thinking and thinking and still thinking. Goodness. And then, of course, it gets it right. However, when we ask the new V3, look, we get an answer instantly. Yes, it is a touch less intelligent than its reasoning version theoretically. But in practice, I am not so sure of that. You will see in this video that it might actually be even a bit better. Also, in return, it is perhaps 50 to 100 times faster than the reasoning R1 depending on the question. That also means that you can run it cheaper. So let that sink in. This can hang with the best closed AI techniques out there, but wait, this is fully open and free for everyone that you can try online right now.
Now, to get that level of speed, developers used a trick called 4-bit quantization. For those unfamiliar, this is a method where the precision of the model's internal calculations is slightly reduced, which helps it run faster and use significantly less memory. Yes, there's a small trade-off in output quality, but for many applications, especially those not needing ultra-precise answers, it's well worth it. The ability to generate content quickly on a consumer-grade machine changes the game, and it means we're getting closer to a world where AI that used to live only in the cloud can now live on your desktop. And speaking of desktops, that Mac Studio configuration used for testing wasn't cheap. It cost around $4,999. But in the AI world, that's still considered relatively affordable, especially when you factor in the cost of server infrastructure or cloud computing at scale. The fact that you can run a state-of-the-art language model on a local machine without compromising too much on speed or output is a massive leap forward for accessibility. So what's going on under the hood? DeepSeek V3 has an interesting architecture. The total capacity of the model is 671 billion parameters, a colossal number. But here's the clever part. Instead of activating all of them for every task, it only uses around 37 billion parameters per prompt. This is thanks to a technique called mixture of experts, sometimes abbreviated as MoE. Instead of having one giant monolithic model that handles everything, you break it into smaller specialized networks, experts, and only activate the ones needed for a particular input. Think of it as calling the right specialist for the job instead of making a generalist do everything. It's more efficient, scalable, and far less resource intensive. And that's part of why DeepSeek is getting so much attention. The mixture of expert strategy allows the model to achieve high performance while keeping inference costs low. That means faster outputs, lower compute requirements, and wider usability, whether you're building a chatbot, coding assistant, or research tool. Here's a look at one of the reviews of DeepSeek's new model.
DeepSeek just quietly released on Hugging Face yesterday an update to their V3 model that just came out a few months ago, and now it looks to be potentially one of the best non-reasoning models in the world. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the details. I'm going to show you how to get started with it, and then I'll also show you some demos on what it looks like. When this originally dropped, all that they had were the model weights, as well as that the license was an MIT license. Ever since then, they added some details to the README file, and it is incredibly impressive. As we can see, across a number of these benchmarks, we can see that this model performs very well in particular tasks such as math as well as coding, even outperforming GPT 4.5 as well as Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Now, if we compare it to the previous model, we also see a significant leap in performance from a model that was just released a number of months ago. While these benchmarks are impressive, what's even more impressive is that this is an open source model, as well as the pricing of this model when we compare it to some of these flagship frontier models from OpenAI as well as Anthropic. This model does not only outperform those models in a number of different tasks, but it is also considerably cheaper. Just to demonstrate what I mean by this, so this is Artificial Analysis, which is a really great site that does independent analysis on AI models as well as API providers. If we take a look at the pricing, the blended rate of the input tokens as well as the output tokens, which do vary in cost, it is only 80 cents per million tokens for that blended rate. Whereas if we compare that to Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is $6 for their blended rate per million tokens, and GPT 4.5 at $93.80 for their blended rate. Now, in terms of performance, Artificial Analysis also has what they call their intelligence index. This ranks at the top across all other non-reasoning models. This outperforms Grok 3, Gemini 2.0 Pro, Sonnet 3.7, GPT 4o, so on and so forth. The only models that are outperforming it are the reasoning models. And if you're not as familiar with reasoning models, these models will think before they give you a response. So the trade-off with the reasoning models is you're going to get a better response, but you're going to have to wait longer for those responses. Now, just to go over some reactions on X, Artificial Analysis on X, after performing their analysis, mentioned that 3 months ago, DeepSeek released V3, and we wrote that there is a new leader in open source AI, noting that V3 came close to leading proprietary models from Anthropic and Google, but did not surpass them. Today, DeepSeek are not just releasing the best open source models, DeepSeek are now driving the frontier of non-reasoning open weight models, eclipsing all proprietary non-reasoning models, including Gemini 2.0, Claude 3.7, and Llama 3.370b. This release is arguably even more impressive than R1 and potentially indicates that R2 is going to be another significant leap forward. Now, in terms of the model, so the context window is 128,000. Now, mind you, it is limited to 64,000 if you're going directly through DeepSeek's first-party API. In terms of the total parameters, this is not something that you can run at home unless you have something akin to a $10,000 Mac machine, which I'll touch on in just a moment. Another thing to note with the model is this is text only, and there is no multimodal inputs or outputs. So in other words, you can't pass into the model things like audio files, videos, or images, and also, as you might expect, it won't generate those as well. In terms of a couple other reactions, here is someone actually running this on a 512 gigabyte M3 Ultra. It's able to get 20 tokens per second. Now, this is running at 4-bit, but you can see how fast it is on the right-hand side here. With that being said, an M3 Ultra with 512 gigs of RAM. A similar reaction here is you can run this on a $10,000 Mac Studio. And just to really put this into perspective, it has an MIT license, so you can commercialize this. You can use it for inference APIs or different products. In terms of some other benchmarks, the ADAR Polyglot benchmark, this is a benchmark that a lot of developers look towards, and it's noted that it's significantly improved over the prior version, and it's currently number 2 in the non-thinking models, only behind Sonnet 3.7, noting that V3 is competitive with thinking models like R1 and O3 Mini. So now a common theme that's coming up on X now is a lot of people have high hopes for DeepSeek R2, just given how strong of an update this new V3 model is. And honestly, at the pace that DeepSeek has caught up to the frontier, I wouldn't be surprised if DeepSeek R2, when it comes out, is not just the best open source model. There's a chance that this could be the best model period in the world, at least until another model leapfrogs it like we've seen. At time of recording, if you're looking to access the model, you'll be able to access this on Hyperbolic, Nebius, Fireworks, as well as Deep Infra. You can see the respective output speeds as well as the respective price, all within artificial analysis. I did test this out on both Fireworks as well as the DeepSeek API. If you go to deepseek.com, you'll be able to access the API platform, or alternatively, if you just want to try it from a ChatGPT-like interface, that's going to be the model that they're using within the interface.
Let's zoom out for a second. The original DeepSeek V3 series launched in December, and training it took around 2.8 million GPU hours, which is staggering. The dataset? A massive 14.8 trillion tokens. That's a serious investment in both time and resources. Yet, remarkably, the total training cost was under $6 million, which is far below what most experts would expect for a model of this scale. Part of this cost efficiency comes from clever engineering. DeepSeek used the more accessible NVIDIA H800 chips. These are powerful GPUs that are somewhat restricted under US export controls, but still legal for China to use. This also brings up a bigger question. Are US chip sanctions really slowing down Chinese AI progress? If DeepSeek can train a model of this magnitude with constrained hardware and a modest budget, it suggests that China might be finding ways to stay competitive, even under pressure. And then there's DeepSeek R1, the model that helped put DeepSeek on the global AI map earlier this year. R1 was optimized for advanced reasoning, problem solving, and code generation, and it got a lot of attention for its math and logic capabilities. While DeepSeek V30324 isn't focused on reasoning quite as intensely as R1, it's still showing very strong performance in logic, code, and problem solving. Some early informal testing shows that it achieves around 60% success on tasks in Python and Bash, which is an impressive leap from older models. It still trails R1 and competitors like Qwen32B, but the performance gap is narrowing. And when you combine that with its efficiency and accessibility, you begin to understand why the AI world is buzzing. Another big upgrade? Context length. DeepSeek V303. 2.4 expanded from a previous 4K token limit all the way up to 128,000 tokens. That's a massive jump. The method they used is something they call YARN, short for Yet Another Recurrent Network. Funny name, serious capabilities. What does this mean in practice? You can now feed it full documents, long transcripts, even entire books, and still expect it to remember the beginning of the conversation by the time it gets to the end. This is critical for tasks like legal document analysis, long-form content summarization, and complex research queries that span thousands of words. Benchmark-wise, DeepSeek also did surprisingly well in tests like the ERS Polyglot benchmark, scoring around 55%, just behind strong competitors like Sonnet 3.7. While its tone is reported to be slightly more formal than earlier versions, many professionals, especially those in academia or enterprise, see that as a strength rather than a weakness. But here's where it gets even more real. According to reports, China's military is already experimenting with DeepSeek in hospitals, using it for diagnostic assistance in non-combat roles. It's part of a cautious rollout where they're testing the model in safer environments before moving into more sensitive areas like drone coordination or satellite surveillance. The People's Liberation Army likes that DeepSeek is open source. It means they can run it entirely on secure local servers without relying on US-based cloud providers or foreign APIs. This has enormous strategic implications, and it's why some in the West are sounding alarms. In fact, sources claim China's government has instructed leading AI experts and entrepreneurs not to travel to the US, citing security risks and concerns they could be detained or interrogated. These fears aren't unfounded, especially in light of what happened during the Huawei crackdown. Recently, DeepSeek's founder Liang Wenfeng reportedly skipped an international AI summit in Paris, and other Chinese AI leaders are canceling or postponing trips abroad. Meanwhile, DeepSeek's success is triggering a wave of transformation inside China's tech industry. Companies like AI, Zhipu, Baichuan, and Moonshot AI are pivoting fast. Some are dropping plans to train their own massive models and are now building custom solutions on top of DeepSeek's framework. Others are struggling to keep up, resorting to IPOs or shifting focus entirely, like Baichuan moving toward healthcare AI. Local governments are also getting in on the action. Cities like Chongqing, Shenzhen, and Beijing are launching huge investment programs in AI infrastructure, pushing policies under the banner of AI Plus to modernize city management and services. It's clear from the top down, China sees AI as a core national priority, and DeepSeek is being held up as proof that homegrown innovation can lead the charge. So, what does all of this mean for the rest of the world? For one, it's a wake-up call. If DeepSeek can build models this powerful, this efficient, and this affordable without the top-tier GPUs and mega budgets that OpenAI or Google have, it challenges the assumption that the US and its allies will remain in the lead. Even Donald Trump recently weighed in, reportedly calling DeepSeek a wake-up call for American tech. Some major US tech firms have lost over $1 trillion in market value, partially driven by anxiety over China's rapid AI gains. So, what we're seeing with DeepSeek V3 0324 isn't just the release of another AI model. It's the unfolding of a global shift in how power, innovation, and access to advanced technology are distributed. China is proving that it can produce competitive, efficient, and open AI systems, even under hardware constraints and export restrictions. And as Western companies scramble to respond, it's becoming more clear than ever that this next phase of the AI race won't just be fought with chips and compute power. It will be defined by strategy, collaboration, and who can bring these tools into the hands of everyday people the fastest. Whether you're a creator, developer, business owner, or just someone who loves tech, this moment is your chance to pay attention, learn fast, and start experimenting. Because the tools are no longer locked behind closed doors. They're open, they're powerful, and they're here now. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, give it a like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the future of AI and beyond.